Andrew Cox with DiscoverWoodward.com and Keller Williams Realty Elite here in Woodward, Oklahoma. And we are here at JW's Nursery.
This one is so far out of my realm, and I'm like really excited because it's so far out of my realm because I am the blackest thumbs.
We were discussing kill rate earlier. I'm like a 92% kill rate, so we'll figure out what your kill rate is.
So here was my goal this year. My goal was to not kill any of my flowers until the 4th of July. And the week of 4th of July, I was like, well, hey, I've still got one bud on each flower. Does it count? Did I survive?
Yes.
There's still a lot of green.
Yes. That's good if it's green.
With the flowers, I don't know. I just don't have it. I had to work hard too. Like, you don't know the effort it took for me. So I'm excited. Every time I come in here, first off, you have a beautiful inventory of things. So you've got decorative items, and then you've got your greenhouse, and so all these things I come in, I'm just like, oh my goodness, I love it. And I'm afraid of every bit of it. So first off, tell us about you. What made you get started with JW's Nursery? How long have you been JW's Nursery? Who are you? All that.
I'm Jason Kovalt. I have lived here all of my life except for when I went to college at Oklahoma State University. And we acquired the nursery the fall of '89, September 1st of '89. So this is my 31st year in the business. And my dad built a greenhouse for me when I was in high school in our backyard. And his requirement was that I had to grow him tomatoes if he was going to build me a greenhouse. So I did that, and then my mother's mom, my grandmother, she always had a greenhouse, and she raised African violets and cacti, probably the opposite ends of the spectrum as far as plant material. And then had a large garden, had very little yard that she mowed, mostly a yard that she grew her own food, basically. So every time I went down there, I came home with some kind of a plant. So that's how my interest got started. And then I dug a lily pond in my mom's backyard my junior year of high school, I think. And that's still there and still a lily pond. And anyway, so that's where I got my love for plants. So.
Which part of the business do you enjoy the most then? Do you still enjoy the plants most? Do you enjoy the decorative part? Do you like all of it together? And I see you working outside too. You don't just grow the plants. Do I not see you doing some planting?
Right, yes. It depends on the day, but I like the plants because they don't talk back.
That makes me laugh because I was just thinking, I really know you because of your wife, because she's one of my favorite middle school teachers, and I love middle school kids. And I love middle school teachers. I do not love trying to play a middle school teacher.
Right.
And so you say that and I'm getting tickled because she does that all day long. And you're like, no, don't talk back to me. So plants are good.
Yeah. I like
Brian
design.
thinks that too. He's like, if I could just get my assistant to be quiet.
Yeah.
So you like the design?
I do. And it doesn't have to be outside. I like to create cool places, I guess, whether that be inside my store for people to shop or out. I just finished a little landscaping job in front of Classic Maytag.
Yes.
So that's been my big job. It wasn't a big job this summer, but it was for him for sure, since he had gotten a hate letter about how bad the front of the store looked, and we had already been working trying to get to where we are now. But anyway.
Oh, bless him. But now it looks amazing.
Yes.
Awesome. So tell me, what kind of goes into that planting stage? So my yard is, it's bad. It's really bad. So just plain, it's terrible. You'd be like, oh my gosh, where do I begin? But how do you begin? I mean, tell me what kind of questions you'd ask me to help me to know what I wanted to do.
I sit down with the customer and just ask them what they are thinking in their mind. Sometimes they have pictures of what they want, and I just go through what their family needs are for the yard, what kind of maintenance. Most everyone says low maintenance, and it's like, That's
that
going to be
possible?
mostly artificial and concrete.
Perfect.
But anyway, so I do sketches, and then I go back to them, and we go over it and talk about everything I've got drawn on paper. And then if there are changes that need to be made or something they're not crazy about, I'll go back and do more drawing until we get it how they want it. And sometimes people say, "Oh, that's too much," so I'll go back in and scale it down.
Sure.
And then sometimes I do a drawing and get out there and things get added on and added on and added on. So it just depends on the person and the problem, you know.
Sure.
So that's kind of how. And then I can install it after I do the drawing and get it how the customer wants it, or sometimes they do it themselves in stages. So whatever the customer wants, I try to accommodate.
Tell me about one of the things I think is really cool about your business is your seasonal decor. I hope I'm saying that right, because really this is so out of my life.
Right.
I am not a decorator at all. It's really a joke. Things don't look right in my house. But I know, so Halloween is a big deal for your family.
Yes.
And the other thing that always sticks out in my mind is JW's Christmas displays. So tell us a little bit about your seasonal decorations.
Fall is a big one. Fall and Halloween. And this year, hopefully, I am going to have pumpkins and gourds because they are growing all over. We're just not sure exactly what we got planted. But anyway, we do have gourds and pumpkins growing, and I have a really good metal, it's outdoor metal, basically, called Round Top. And that's always been a big seller for me. Really cute, long-lasting metal pumpkins and witches and all kinds of stuff. And my mom was always a big holiday person. We always celebrated pretty much every holiday, so that's a big deal. And then Christmas, I just love that because I like for people to come into my store and go, wow. I don't like for them to go, this is pretty, this is nice. I want them to kind of go, wow, I've never thought about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my whole drive behind that, I guess. And it's a slow time for the nursery industry,
right.
So that's why I've gone into the Christmas. And we'll go out, and one lady's house, we decorate a 12-foot tree, a 9-foot tree, and then I get up on her 30-foot chimney inside in a cathedral ceiling living room and put a wreath that I can barely carry up a ladder. And then I do outside work too and get a little scared sometimes on the peaks putting lights up. And anyway, we do all that, put it up, take it down, and store it in some cases for people who don't even want to mess with their lights and all that stuff. So.
That's a service that I didn't recognize that you provided, that you'll put up my exterior lights. So last couple of years, my kids are like, and they're young adults, really. I probably got my son do it, but I guess I don't trust him. So, Mom, why aren't we putting up lights? I'm like, I'm not putting up lights. And it never occurred to me I could call you and be like, hey, you put up some lights. So that's a service I didn't even know that you provided. And I know we've had sellers asking for that too. So I love to be able to share that contact with our sellers. And one of the things I also didn't understand that you did, I did not realize before that you did come. You will come to my house and make my tree beautiful. So I can have my hodgepodge homespun Christmas tree with all my little kids' homemade ornaments, but I can also have my perfect tree that Jason Govalt makes beautiful. So people will be like, wow, look what you did. And I'll be like, yeah.
That is right. And we won't tell.
Well, good, I might tell. You could probably put a card on my tree because people know it wasn't me. So I wondered, what kind of design changes have you seen since 1989 to 2020? Oh my gosh, it's hard to say 2020 right now. Have you seen some crazy things? Not to put you on the spot, but I just really wanted to know.
I don't know if I'm sure there are.
I'm thinking like when we moved into my mom and dad's house in '90, and it was an early '80s house. We moved into when my family moved into their Woodward house. It was an early 80s house, and it had all the little plain, straight shrubs.
Right.
We don't see that anymore.
Right.
And when we do, we're like, how long is it going to take for us to rip those out, right?
Right.
So those kinds of things have changed. And then I think about, we kind of laugh at Modern Appliance, right? Yes, at Modern Appliance recently they said there was a fad where you could get a Holstein print to put on your refrigerator.
Yes.
So.
Oh yeah.
And a couple years ago we had, God, I just lost what's the pretty bird? Peacock. We did all the peacock trees and things like that. What do you see as kind of the hot ticket this year? Tigers?
Not really. I don't know what it is. If it's
whatever you make it.
Yeah, the llama has been big.
It has, hasn't it?
But I haven't been to market. I usually go to Dallas a couple of times a year, and since everything, I haven't been down there, so I'm shopping out of catalogs and online, and that's not my thing
harder,
too much.
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's very hard to see what is trending and everything, but I don't know. I would say people have gotten away from just flower beds up against the house a lot. I mean, they've started softening the landscape, doing more flower bed than yard maybe sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Now this year, people are growing vegetable gardens like they've never done before.
That's true, isn't it?
Yeah. Which is a good thing. I mean, I think we need to teach our kids and people to grow their own food.
Sure.
I think that's a good...
And that's a service you provide too. You have, is that right? You have some garden starters?
Yes. Yeah.
Tell us about that. I used to help my grandpa in the garden. I remember that, but I wouldn't know how to begin a garden today if my life depended on it. So how would you help me to get started with the garden?
Just figuring out what you want to grow.
Squash.
Okay.
And tomatoes.
So
Okra.
we do we do the peppers and the tomatoes for sure from seed, and we have those always planted and started. And then as the spring progresses, we also do the okra and squashes and cucumbers and that kind of plant starters.
Sure.
We also have bulk seed, which a lot of people don't realize. So you can buy an amount. The smallest amount is about, I think it's $1, and it's a larger cup than you get in any packaged seed you ever buy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then we've had a lot of people say, we bought seed from this place and this place, and yours are the only ones that are coming up like 95%.
Wow.
So that's been a good thing. And we've had bulk seed forever, for all the 30 years I've been here, and sell quite a bit of it, but this year it's been crazy.
Really
Yeah. So
people have more time, don't they?
yes, and they're sitting at home. There's not a whole lot to do. So I did see somebody post on Facebook, the garden next year will be half the size that it is this year.
True that.
I bet.
Because a garden is work. If you've never done it,
isn't it?
Oh my word.
It is. It is.
We had one growing up, and it was I was probably 10, so it felt like a 40-acre plot, but it was probably 100 by 100. It was huge, and we every day, like 2 hours, we would go weed and pick and weed. And my mom, she'd go out there and say, "I'm going to go check the bean plant." I'm like, you can't pick all the beans; they just grow instantly. Like we'd pick them, and then we'd go do it again. And they hide. That year was cool. We had watermelons planted too close to the cucumber, or watermelons planted too close to the cantaloupe. And
So they crossed.
they crossed, and they were. We had watermelon flavored cantaloupe flavored watermelon, or something. It was really kind of cool.
I love that.
It was kind of cool. But yeah, the next year garden was not.
Yeah. When I was, I think my second or third year here, one of my friends graduated a little behind me, and she came out here and worked for me. And we decided, she rented a house for my dad, and we decided, and I lived across the street in my grandmother's house, And so we decided we would till up the half of the block that was empty. So we would work all day here, and then we would go home and work till dark in the garden, mashing bugs and picking weeds. And that was the first and the last year that I did that. So,
I was going to say, because the energy of youth, right?
yeah, man.
That's funny. All right, so tell us how would people reach you? Tell us our location. Help us to help Woodward to know how to get to you.
We are at 2224 8th Street. That number is nowhere on my building. But
there's a bus.
Yes, there is an old black delivery bus sitting out front. And where 8th Street merges into 9th Street, or the highway right at Taco Mayo and Arby's in Woodward, that is where I am, just east.
There's some plants there.
Yes. There's a park just south of the post office, and I am kind of right behind that. A long cedar building. So you can come by here, or you can give us a call at 580-256-1324. You can message me on Facebook. And I do usually get to those. If I don't, my wife lets me know that there are questions on Facebook that I need to answer. And you can email me.
But maybe you shouldn't.
But my email address is all lowercase letters, and I did talk with Carrick via email, so I'm real proud about that. But my email address is all lowercase letters, jwsnursery@sbcglobal.net.
Awesome. We appreciate you so much. We appreciate that you're a Woodward native, you're homegrown, and you came back. We appreciate that you have a wonderful business and that you have things here, so I don't have to leave town to go shopping and get what I need. And so thank you so much. And we know that you're busy. Thank you for taking time to talk to us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.